today is the day that Jupiter finally departs Scorpio and makes its home in Sagittarius. And I really just want to be excited about this. Like, I really just want to be hopeful. I want to be optimistic. I want to extend optimism to you. I want you to feel like something good can come of this. But see, what had happened was I've been studying astrology for too long. And unfortunately, Jupiter is hardly ever the panacea we hope it will be. But with that being said, there are some reasons to be optimistic. Almost 99% of those have to do with the fact that Jupiter is no longer going to be in Scorpio. Like, let's just take a moment and have a praise dance for that fact. I am not a Scorpio hater. Is this car just like sitting? Is that a parking spot? Like, oh, it must be. Okay. I am not a Scorpio hater. Like, let me just tell you this. Anybody who knows me knows that I love me some Scorpio. Let me just tell you. I love me some Scorpio. Not even going to lie. However, when it comes to what we have been through with Jupiter in Scorpio, this is quite a different story. If you have not read either of my blog posts, the one that I wrote last September about Jupiter in Scorpio and what we could expect with that, and if you have not read my Jupiter in Sagittarius post that I published last month with so much information about what is ahead for us. There are 15 questions at the end of my Jupiter in Sagittarius post. This does not require you to know anything about astrology. It does not require you to know anything about your birth chart. Hello, Pat Talk 98. This does not require you to know anything about your birth chart. There is nothing that you need to know as a prerequisite for reading that blog post and making use of it. So I need you to go to my website. It's the latest post on Jupiter in Sagittarius and read that. Everybody's saying Happy New Year, which is so funny because like this actually does begin my own Jupiter return. I'm Sag rising with Jupiter on the ascendant, so this truly is a Happy New Year. And one of the things that's so, I think, fascinating about watching Jupiter transits is this concept of 12-year cycles. So for a reference point as a kind of beginning, really, to this story that completes and is reborn as Jupiter comes back into Sagittarius, we go back to 2007 and 2008. So if you go back to 2007 and 2008, you can really find some connections. And let me just help you out here. Jupiter, as far as I'm concerned, well, really, if we think about it, like every planet is saying something about identity and a kind of reference point for identity. But Jupiter is special because it is a fire planet, a part of the fire triplicity, which includes Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. Right? So for Jupiter, though, this idea of identity is really deep, and I wrote about it at length. in the post I wrote on Jupiter and Sagittarius, but my oft repeated kind of saying about Jupiter and about Sagittarius specifically is that identity is a belief system. And I really just want to like badger you all with this. Like I really just want to like repeat it, like put it on repeat for you guys so that you can really understand the importance of that identity is a belief system. I know, and listen, I be getting on here talking and just saying all kind of stuff. I'm just having this moment right now where like I get on here talking and I'm saying all kind of stuff that has nothing to do with anything you'll read anywhere else about astrology. And so I know that like some of y'all, it can like go over your head because like you're expecting me to come on here and talk about all the blessings that are going to come your way and all of the abundance and all of the good luck, and like that has nothing to do with anything. Like any planet can bring you blessings and any planet can fuck your shit up. And when it comes to Jupiter, like that's the planet that you really need to watch out for. That's another conversation that maybe I'll be able to have today. But with regard to Jupiter and this idea of identity being a belief system, right? What that means is that humans are storytellers by nature. There is only so much information and data that we can take in at once. And so our brains have evolved to do this amazing thing of filling in the blanks, right? Humans being storytellers means that we take the inherently limited amount of data, not only that we can perceive, but that we can understand and be aware of, and we tell a story about it. This is what humans do. You have one experience with a person, and now you've developed a whole narrative about who this person is. You got a whole belief system and you draw all kind of conclusions and judgments about this person that's just based on like one experience, right? God forbid you make room for the fact that other people might experience this person a totally different way. So just imagine with yourself that you take the experiences that you remember, like let's just forget the ones that you can't even remember, but you take the ones that you remember, then you take the ones you can understand, right? Because how much of your experiences in life, the ones that have shaped your brain, your body, your nervous system, right? How much of those experiences occurred before you were even verbal? So now you got this whole nervous system that's shaped by experiences that happened before you can even process them and understand them, shaping the way that you experience, perceive, and judge everything else. Do y'all see what I'm saying here? So on top of all of that, we're like, well, I can only go off what I know, and what I know is, which is like cool, like absolutely, like we have to be able to do that as well. But when it comes to identity, this becomes really sticky because now, and this is what I talked about in my Jupiter and Sagittarius post, right? There are things that actually happened, right? Like non-negotiable, cannot be up for debate. Like everybody saw it, it happened. But then there is your interpretation of what happened. Like you gonna feel some kind of way about it, right? So there's that thing that happened. Then it's like, well, you feel some kind of way about that happening, but then you got to tell a story about it. Like you keep talking about it, you keep thinking about it. It gets ingrained into how you judge yourself in your life from that point forward, right? Now you got a whole story about who you are that's based off this one particular thing that happened. So as humans, we really are in this kind of vulnerable position with our conscious mind. That our conscious mind can be kind of a bully at times, right? That your conscious mind is just like, all there is all you can see and know. And so if you can't see and know it, it must not be true. And it's just like, whoa, wait a minute. Insert Jupiter and Scorpio. Jupiter and Scorpio is like, well, actually, there are all kind of things going on in your subconscious, in your unconscious psyche, in your mind, in yourself, that you don't even know. These things that happen to us, these experiences, it's kind of like it becomes identity inception. Yes, I gotta say this out loud. My friend Layla here says, I used to think it was adults just blatantly telling lies about themselves and their lives, but it's stories. Exactly. And as I keep saying, I know y'all think I'm crazy, but stories are better than facts, right? So these stories, basically, this is the transition from Jupiter and Scorpio to Jupiter and Sagittarius. Man, this light has me looking kind of nice this morning. This is the story. The story is that this person in front of me is trying to do all kind of things that's making me nervous. Okay. This is the thing. The thing is that Jupiter and Scorpio is like, wow, you thought you were this way because it's just the way that you are. Oh, you thought that you reacted and responded this way. You thought these things upset you or hurt you. You thought that, you perceived and judged things this way or felt this way about things because this is just the way that you are. It's like, no, something happened. There are real things that happen to you. There are real things that happen to you that have shaped you. Like, you're this way because something happened. And so whether or not you want to delve deep into what actually happened to you and why and what were the circumstances around that, that's between you and your chart in Jupiter and Scorpio. I don't have nothing to do with that. But the point being that you can't take for granted who you are. You cannot take who you are at face value. This is the thing. You can't take it at face value, right? Taking it at face value means without examination, without understanding or delving into meaning, right? You are who you are because of what you've been through. Now, how do we determine which events, which experiences are relevant? Right? Because a lot of things happen every single day. You get on the bus, you drive down the street, you walk across the street, you see a person, they look at you ugly, and then you don't know, right? All of these things happen, but how do you determine which events, which experiences and circumstances are relevant to this story, relevant to this identity, relevant to how you're judging, the things that happen to you? And again, insert Jupiter and Scorpio, right? Jupiter in Scorpio is saying that the relevant events that have shaped the story of your identity are the ones that have deep emotional significance. Right? The stories, the events or circumstances that really have an impact on shaping this story, determining, defining this story of identity, are the ones that have deep emotional significance. So insert Jupiter in Scorpio again. Emotions are physical. They're not an idea. There's a social construct around how we judge, talk about, perceive feelings. But the feelings themselves are physical. They're doing something to your body. They are your body. They're doing something to your brain. They're shaping your brain. They're programming your nervous system. Where is the control we have over this? How do you control the impact that something has on your nervous system? How do you keep something from impacting your brain? How do you stop your brain from building synapses between neurons, creating new neural pathways in responses to certain experiences? How do you stop that? You think you're choosing. That's so cute. You think you read a book and you read that book and you're like, wow, now I'm this. This is who I am. Now, don't get me wrong. We often come across information that provides context for who we are. It provides us new reference points to interpret information. It gives us a new starting off point. But see, that's going to be Jupiter in Gemini and Jupiter in Virgo, right? Those transits are going to be the ones where it's new information that impacts us. But when it comes to Scorpio, we're talking about your body. We're talking about the neural pathways that have been reinforced, because every time you get into a relationship, same story over and over and over and over again. But then you take that story and you're like, well, this is who I am. Identity is a belief system, and belief systems are just stories we tell, stories that we believe, stories that shape how we interpret. Religion is a belief system too, right? Religion is stories that show us how to contextualize our experiences, right? If I'm a Christian, the story I believe is that blessings come from God and that all terrible things come from the devil. So if something really good happens to me, oh, I better praise God. I better give thanks. I better, this is the work of the Lord in my life. But when something bad happens, I rebuke the devil in the name of bullshit, right? That's what we do, right? Right? We rebuke that evil demon. We stomp on the devil's head, right? Right? But then when something good comes from the bad thing that happens, then we're like, oh, I just thank the Lord for turning this around, right? I mean, it's a binary. It's a very, very like black and white way of view. But this is how humans are, right? Even if you're not a Christian, when good things happen to you, wow, you worked so hard. You are so talented. Man, you just really put your best foot forward and look at all of these great things that happen, right? But when bad things happen, either now you become a piece of shit that can't do anything, or it must just be fate, right? Fate only exists when it's bad things happening, right? If it's good things, then wow, look how great I am. Look how I'm so talented. Wow, the discipline, the hard work, I came up through these difficult circumstances, right? So these are all stories, my friend. Thank you, Noel. You're welcome. These are all stories. They're stories. And this is not about factuality. This is not about, do I have the evidence for this story to be true? Because it really doesn't matter. Your nervous system really doesn't care whether it's true. The effects have already manifested, right? Your nervous system already is what it is. But the blessing of Jupiter and Scorpio, you see, is just to become aware. Like, oh shit, I'm not like, whoa, wait a minute. This is the consequence of something that has happened to me. This is the consequence of some real experiences. And so this Jupiter and Scorpio transit has been the opportunity for you to recognize that, for you to bring into your conscious awareness the things that have happened to you, to become aware of the way that they shaped you. I promise you, the closer we got to the end of this Jupiter and Scorpio transit, my brain was like, oh, this transit is called, but did you die though? Did you? Right? Another name for this Jupiter and Scorpio transit that's over, triggered, right? Because what triggered means is that you have a certain wiring of your nervous system based on experiences. Trigger means something trips the wire, right? And it's triggering, right? Activating that certain neural pathway, that certain programming in your nervous system, right? Right? But oftentimes we're triggered and we really don't know why. Like, why am I so freaking upset? Like, why do I feel like, why am I sweating? Why am I so nervous? Why am I so anxious, right? Jupiter in Scorpio has been about all right, man, it's something going on. Something has happened here, and you don't have to live like this. Like, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to struggle. And so if we could use that moment to really be like, what really is going on, right? Don't project and blame. Don't accept it at face value. It's like, well, this is just who I am. No, it's not who you are. It's who you were made to be by experiences, and you could be somebody else if you want to, right? So here comes Jupiter in Sagittarius, right? And just for the record, this Scorpio stuff ain't over. We get a little bit of break. When do we get a break? We get a break from February 2020 until June 2020. I really want to say March, but I'm not going to do y'all like that. We're going to tell a different story. So from February 2020 to June 2020, literally something's going to be in Scorpio until February 6th or 7th, 2020, right? Jupiter, let's see. Mercury doesn't leave Scorpio until December 25th. And by then, Mars is already in Scorpio, and Mars doesn't leave Scorpio until February. So unfortunately, there's still more going on. And maybe this Mars and Scorpio transit will give us a little bit of an instant replay and some kind of way to aggregate and integrate some of the experiences that we've had during the Jupiter and Scorpio transit since October 2018, but also kind of lay a little groundwork for the work ahead of us once eclipses begin in Scorpio and Taurus. June 2020, I think June 5th, 2020 is the first eclipse in the Scorpio-Taurus sign pair. So here comes Jupiter and Sagittarius. Jupiter, we got to bridge that gap. It's so important to bridge the gap between Scorpio and Sagittarius, because Scorpio is about the survival instinct. It's about, you are this way because you had to be to survive, right? You are this way. Who you are is a consequence of the drive to survive. Who you are is a consequence of the drive to survive. Who you are is a consequence of the way your mind and body and nervous system have adapted in order to survive in the circumstances that you found yourself in. Isn't that deep? Isn't that deep? That your whole identity is rooted in adaptive mechanisms to survive childhood, to get your basic needs for food, safety, and shelter met. Like, your nervous system's wiring literally is, these are the synapses that need to be connected in order to get your needs met. Right? Right? This is what that is. So when we come to Jupiter in Sagittarius, this is fire. So we're not talking about the body anymore. We're not talking about the body. We're talking about the will. The will is that intangible, unquantifiable thing that is, right? It acts, right? To will something is to do it, is to find the life force, the libido to do it, to make it happen. So there's 3 fire signs: Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. Aries is the physical will. This is, I can lift my leg. You know what happens at your very first Mars return? You can walk, and you can probably run. You could be chased. You could climb up that closet. You could get up in that thing that you're not supposed to be in. Because now you have physically developed the muscular structure, the bone density. You got some kneecaps now. Look at you with some kneecaps at 2. Right? Aries is the physical will. I literally have the capability. Right? If you can't walk at 2, then we know there's something physically wrong. There's some kind of delay. There's something physiologically wrong or not developed in the average time span. Something's happening there that might need to be checked into. right? So Aries is the physical will. Leo, though, is the intellectual will. It is your mind and your perception, right? So Aries says, this will of mine gives me the capability to act, to move, right? To say that I am going to pick up this book and put it over there because I have the physical strength of will to impact my world, right? So you get somebody like Muhammad Ali, who has Mars and Saturn in Aries in his 10th house, right? He has a bunch of stuff in Capricorn. So now all of that is answering to Aries in his chart. Literally the physical will, right? This is all about entitlement, right? The entitlement that I can move this book or I'd knock you out, right? I'm the biggest, baddest, shut your mouth, right? This is the brolic and brazen bravado of Muhammad Ali, right? But then we get to Leo, which is the intellect and the perception. What is perception? Seeing out of your own eyes. That's what perception is, right? Now, if you got sun in an air sign, then you see out of your own eyes, but you got to see what other people are seeing out of their eyes just to make sure that you see what you see out of your eyes. But you have sun in Leo, you seeing what you seeing out of your eyes, and everybody else better be seeing what you seeing out of your eyes because I said so, right? That's Leo for us. So we have the authority of the will. Again, this entitlement that the way that I see things are the way that it is, right? So if you have sun in Pisces, then the way you see things aren't the way that they are. And you always like, but is that really the way it is, right? Are you sure? Right? Because you don't even take your own perceptions at face value, right? So this is the authority of the intellect, of the mind, of perception, right? How do we reinforce that authority in children, right? We say that a kid holds up this cup and they be like, brr, brr, hello, right? And you, a motherfucking hater, if you don't take that cup and put it up to your ear and be like, hey, right? You're reinforcing their perceptions. What you're perceiving and seeing is real, right? Now, we all know what gaslighting is, right? Gaslighting is when you know that I saw what I saw, but you keep trying to talk to me like I didn't see what I see what I saw, right? Right? That's gaslighting. This is the authority. Now we get to Sagittarius. So we've got the physical strength of the will, we've got the authority of the will, and in Sagittarius, we come to the intention of the will. You see how Sagittarius be trying to grow us up? The intention of the will says, yes, you can. Aries, you are completely capable. And it says, Leo, right. The way that you see things, absolutely the way that they are. Hey, Jessica. Absolutely the way that it is. But here comes Sagittarius. And this is about the why behind it all. This is why I talk about the intentional why. The intentional why is, yes, you are capable. And sure, absolutely the way that you see things. But why? Why do you see things that way? Why are you even doing that? Right? This is where the belief system of identity becomes relevant. Right? I see things the way that I see things because of who I am. I do what I do because of who I am, right? Now, we can project onto the external world, right? But see, this is what this Sagittarius stellium wants us to do. The Sagittarius stellium wants us to say, who you are can't always be a reaction to who they are and what they're doing. Intention means the source of my motivation comes from my own sense of self. The why for my actions is not a reaction to what they're doing or what they're not doing or what they're saying or what they're not saying. My choices, my actions, my motivation, my intention comes from who I am. So who are you? This is why the work of Jupiter and Scorpio was so important, because if you're carrying over old stories about who you are, right, that are rooted in unaddressed trauma, you come to this Jupiter and Scorpio transit and your convictions are now all rooted in, I'm the way that I am because they made me this way and there's nothing I can do about it. I am the way that I am. And let's just be clear, you're not going to reprogram your nervous system overnight, but you can have the intention with this Jupiter and Scorpio transit to be somebody else. Can you really take the wisdom and the awareness that was made available to you during the Jupiter and Scorpio transit and use it to reshape the story you tell about who you are? This is why I asked the question in my Jupiter and Sagittarius post. It says, what feelings did this Jupiter and Scorpio transit force you to face that you've just been avoiding forever, right? I've tweeted so much about the feeling itself is not going to kill you. It is you fighting the feeling. Yes, you're lonely. Yes, you were rejected. Yes, you were abandoned. You'll be rejected again. Everybody not going to like you. Everybody is not for you. Absolutely, your feelings are going to be hurt. Absolutely, they're going to say something that hurts your feelings. They're going to be a piece of shit. But guess what? The feeling of rejection, you're grown now. It will not kill you. And the adaptation that you've taken on, that defensive posture you've taken on against rejection, you had to survive. But you're grown now. And so fuck them niggas. Right? Seriously. Right? These people don't have, and let me be careful, because we need people to survive. Absolutely. We need people. But at the end of the day, you holding yourself in a defensive posture, trying to ward off a feeling. Seriously. Come on, people. I'm talking to myself. I'm just having this conversation with myself out loud with y'all, preaching to myself about myself and my own life. So I'm not up on nobody's pedestal, because I'm right down there. I've been down in there in that Jupiter and Scorpio drudge, right with you, being triggered, having all kind of stuff from the past come up. But this time I see it for what it is. Right? This time I see it for what it is. And I see it as, wow, yo, you mean to tell me this whole time I've been dating people like this because of that? I've been choosing this same situation on like replay. It's like a VHS that you done played too many times. And so now every time you put it in the VCR, it's got these little lines across and it's like a, right? That's how many times I've played that whole tape. Literally, I had the experience this past year of like this shocking moment where it was like, whoa, that is a tape and I can press stop. I don't have to keep telling that story. I don't have to keep interpreting things this way. Can you see what it looks like to remove the projection of your story about who you are based on what you've been through off of person, place, thing in front of you? Can you discern and differentiate that here's a person that clearly has triggered me, but here is the actual event and circumstance that is at the root of that triggering. Insert Jupiter and Sagittarius. Can you come into your life, your world, with the vision that how I show up in this area of my life, I'm no longer reacting to other people. I am no longer sitting around waiting for more information to fill out the story. I'm no longer sitting around waiting to get more information to corroborate my own intentions. Did you know that who you are is enough of a reason for you to do what you do. Fire is the entitlement that says, I don't really need your opinion. I don't need I don't need you to agree. I don't need you to understand, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And there's a time and a place for that. There absolutely is a time and a place for you to be like, you know what? Like, I am doing this because there is something within me that I must impress upon the world. This is purpose. Purpose is not what you do. Purpose is not your job. Purpose is not your career. Purpose is not your hobby. Purpose is not something that makes you feel a certain way when you do it, because feelings are fleeting and your feelings change based on God knows what. Your purpose is none of those things. Your purpose is who you are. It's that thing inside of you. You got to get out. Right? Sagittarius is about doing like what you have to do, because if you don't, it feels like death. Right? So, all of that being said, Jupiter enters Sagittarius this evening, Central Time, around 6 something, I believe. And this is the beginning of something. We've been building up to this point. This is why I'm calling this transit, this moment, critical mass. You know what critical mass is. It's that thing where you reach the tipping point. It's where it's been building up and building up and building up, and you get to that point that it's right over the edge, and boom, momentum has come and you can't stop it now. Right? So critical mass is this moment in your life, and collectively you can look it around. Look at all of these protests, all of them in every stratus of life, in every country. Protests everywhere. Right? You want to know why? Go back to go back to January 2017. This moment is a consequence. So now, this is what I've done. 2 things for you. There's going to be a solar eclipse in Sagittarius featuring Sun, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn, all there at the same time, December 25th, 26th, 2019, depending on where you are. I often do a eclipse special every, I guess, spring, summer, around that series of eclipses. But I'm going to offer this eclipse special again. So what this does is we go look at your chart and we put together your eclipse story, right? We find out where is Sagittarius, all of the other relevant factors in your birth chart that this eclipse is bringing to a critical mass kind of culmination. We need to answer that question. Where is critical mass gathering force ready to reach the tipping point in your life? I know you feel it, because y'all been blowing up my inbox. Y'all been blowing up my Twitter. My mentions have been aflame for like weeks now, because you all feel it, right? So I'm going to offer this eclipse special. I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to offer a limited number or just keep my books open to accept them for a limited amount of time. That's probably what I'll do. And you guys can book it. I'll post the link here in my story and on my profile. So I'm going to do that. I still have a few pre-recorded tarot readings left for November. Those are up on my page. You can go to thepeoplesoracle.com and click book a reading, and under pre-recorded readings, you'll see that. What else? 2020 Sidereal Astrology Guide is coming. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. I will be telling you all about it soon. Save the date. December, what's the actual time? December 21st, December 21st, 2019. Hold on. This is a Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time. I'm hosting a virtual talk on 2020. I'm going to be talking about the astrology of 2020. I'm going to be talking about Chinese astrology. I'm going to be talking about Western astrology. Save the date. You will be able to purchase a ticket for that virtual talk. November. Hold on, let me look at my calendar. November 29th. November 29th, tickets will go on sale for my virtual 2020 talk, which is December 21st, 2019. And other than that, I think that's it. I'm going to do my best to make sure that this video makes it up on YouTube, because this is one of the keepers that you're going to want to come back and watch. So thanks, guys. You guys have a great Monday. Back to life, back to reality. That's all I got to say. Thank y'all. Bye.